it's just been wild. What can I say?
All right, all right, all right.
Been fun.
So, so we got any questions from yesterday, or anything that has popped up since you went out and did a little playing around after we convened?
Not too much for me,
Okay.
honestly. But
No,
How about you, Mark?
not much for me either. I've been busy with class over here, and so I've had to today during videos and stuff kind of try to work on ads and that kind of stuff. But
Okay.
I get long-winded, so I've been editing down my ad.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I find, because I have the same trouble. Because I want to provide so much, and I catch myself getting pretty wordy sometimes.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I think on those ads, less is more. You put the punch in there, really come up with the stuff that matters. I mean, responsibilities, okay, it's kind of like a job description on a resume, right? We know what the job description is, but you need to put in some of the pertinence of that. How big of a staff maybe, or what kind of, backgrounds that they made, or what type of restaurant it is. But the real important stuff is what they've done, right? Because we want people that have actually done specific things. So it becomes a bit of an art. It just takes practice. You'll get better at it as you fumble through it.
Well, I'm used to writing articles for magazines and newspapers. They want 500 words. I can give you 500 words. Yeah.
Right. You need about 75.
I was going to say, but you need under 100, so yeah, I really have to cut it down.
It'll be good, and I'll help you with that. As you send them in, if I think you're a little too wordy, you might lose me. I'll let you know.
Oh, you'll be hollering back.
All right. So what was your biggest takeaway yesterday, Mark?
The 4 T's.
Ah, nice. I like that. Or the TTTS.
Okay.
3 T's and an S.
Okay.
Good one. How about you, Brinson?
the same, and just kind of trying to figure it all out, like just how Echelon works, our database. So just trying to figure that out, I think. And I
Okay.
feel like even from the job descriptions that were on there, just trying to figure it out without, like you said, trying to keep it concise enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Good. Yeah, like I said, it's really a pretty easy. We call it Big Biller. I think that's the actual product. Top Echelon's the company, so I'll call it Big Biller, but it is Top Echelon. But I think there's always going to be stuff that we wish was better. But I think for the most part, it's pretty darn functional and it's pretty easy to navigate. So we laid the groundwork yesterday. And so do you guys feel pretty comfortable with your jobs at this point and have a pretty good understanding of the company and pretty good understanding what it is they're looking for?
Yeah, I think so. I'm kind of like her. I kind of got lost looking at
Yeah.
trying to find the companies again and that sort of thing. And having 5 locations, I could find a couple of them, but I couldn't find the other 2 or 3. But it's just learning the program, staying in it, and going in and just looking around and finding things. So
Okay.
that's
Well, I'll give you some. We'll start off by I'll give you some easy tips on how to do that. So we'll do that first. How about you,
and
Brinson?
then just the other thing was, like, because I haven't really done hospitality, like the restaurants so like even in here I was like, what's AS/DO? I was like, I tried to look it up and I didn't see anything.
What is it?
So AS/DO.
Was that in the job description?
Mm-hmm.
There's a strong chance I don't know what that is either. In fact, I'm going to tell you I don't know what that is.
Okay, keep the AS/DO promptly and fully informed of all issues.
The
So I'm like,
AS,
director
the A,
AS
oh,
slash assistant something, maybe, I don't know.
area supervisor, director of operations, probably.
Probably. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, and I told you guys I was going to do something, and I did not do that. So I'm making a note now. I'm going to send you today when we finish. I'm emailing you concept descriptions. So the difference, fast food, QSR, full service, all that. I'll send you a breakdown of that, and also org chart. So you can see those things. Service manager, if you see that pop up, a service manager is a front of house manager.
Okay.
Service managers, think of what are they doing? They're handling the guests, they're providing customer service. So front of house customer service. Assistant restaurant manager sometimes could be a front of house manager too. So it really just kind of depends on the exact structure that every restaurant has. But the org chart is very, very simple. It just is a matter of which ones they're actually utilizing. So I will make sure that I email both those to you guys at the end of our call today. So you've got that to use as a reference, because it really helps just understanding the difference between concepts and with the, as Maritza knows, acronyms like selling dub, nobody else in the real world understands unless you worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So I mean, it's the acronyms you get a grasp on it. So we know what sandbox we're playing in.
Okay.
So let's do this. So Mark, you made a great point in how do we find stuff, right? So the easiest, first and fastest way is if you visited something. So if you've actually already been on that, like if it was a company or a person or a job, and it's been real recent, it's going to pop up here underneath the tab. So if you're looking for a job, if you've been on it, the last 15 jobs I've been on are listed here. So that's the quickest route. And the most efficient if it's been something you were recently on. If it's been a while, it's where it's past, say it was your 16th, it falls off the list. What you want to do is go to your jobs tab.
Okay.
Really? What in the world? I've only been on this all morning. And for this particular, for Thai chili, the easiest thing to do is just type in Arizona, because we know the jobs are all in Arizona.
Right.
And type in Thai chili.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it should pull up 5 opportunities. There they are. Queen Creek, Scottsdale, Mesa. Oh, see, all right, again, this is pulling up all of them. So there's some closed ones that we've recently had.
Yeah.
So again, go to modify search is something you're going to want to make sure you're conscientious of. We're going to talk about that a lot when we're looking at sourcing here in a minute, because the original pull on some of these deals is not going to include something that you want, because a lot of these jobs are closed. See, here's boom, boom, closed.
Right.
All these assistant GM spots are closed. So go to the modify search. And then come down here and pull, give me those open jobs, and click on it. And boom, there you go.
They are.
Queen Creek, Mesa, Scottsdale, Chandler, and Gilbert.
Okay.
And if you can see, this is something you could hot list. So that would be another thing that you can do. Once you've got them up, if you pull them up like this, you can select them all. Go to the little running person, click on it. You can add to a hot list. So then, if you want to create what I typically will do is, if I'm working a number of jobs, I will create a currently working jobs hot list. So then it's easy for me just to go to that hot list and pull up all the jobs that I'm currently working.
Yes. And I did that yesterday. So
Okay, cool.
I should have known to do that this morning.
That's right.
We're
remember we're in that unconsciously incompetent stage right now. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know what we don't know until we're taught it, until we're able to practice it. So it's all good.
Memory doesn't go 24 hours.
All good. Cool. Any other functional stuff you guys wanted me to re-show you, or we're going to go through a whole bunch of search stuff right now. So a lot of this is going to be applicable for jobs and companies as well, but we're really going to be focusing on sourcing people.
Okay. I think I'm good.
All right. So we talked about the differentiators for Patrice and Associates today with the recruiting calls, how what our A candidates look like, the dedicated manager, and the nationwide network of people. So what we're going to do now that we know all that good information, we want to talk a little bit about this 7-day rule. Now, remember how we talk, we don't protect companies. I mean, we do from our perspective, but we don't think about, this is my company to hire people for. It's who are the candidates, and if I'm engaged with a candidate, it's protected from anybody else coming in and stealing them for another job, right? So, or perhaps even for the same job that you're working. So what we've set up is this thing called the 7-day rule. And what the 7-day rule means is if you have had an engagement with that candidate, and an engagement means not you sent them an email, not that you left them a voicemail, not that you got a first call on them, you're actually, you've made some kind of a contact with this person, okay?
Okay.
Except, no, that's not necessarily true. So these are all, this is the, I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at this, but this is the legend for the activity that we log into Big Biller. And the thing we want to talk about with Big Biller is this, right? And working in recruiting, you probably know this, and you probably heard this before, but if it isn't in the CRM, it didn't happen. So, to protect yourself, to protect your investment of time, when you do an activity, make sure you log it. That's why emails that are coming in, texts that are coming in, those aren't going to get logged unless you put them in there, right? And that's going to be stuff that's going to help you keep your 7-day rule protected. Because if you've got a person if you're engaging a person, right, and you're getting them set up and you're going through the process of getting them an interview, you've got them presented to me and we're waiting to hear from a client, well, typically, you're going to have conversations with them throughout that process. Sometimes it might be a little longer, it could go 3 or 4 days, but you've already got this candidate engaged for a position, so it's not fair for somebody else to come in and try to grab them for something else. You've already got this candidate, they're yours. Now, the day that 7th day passes and you haven't kept them re-engaged, I can go in and re-engage them every day, which you might want to make sure you're conscientious of, because every time you re-engage them, that pushes your 7-day out again.
That's what I was gonna ask. Okay.
Yeah, so you keep them engaged. If you're logging an activity that keeps them engaged, you're protecting yourself. And these are the activities that keep you engaged in that candidate. So when you're going through the contact process, right? My first call, second call, third call, these are all your attempts to try to get a hold of that candidate, okay? So you can trigger it by putting in that first call to candidate, okay? So I'm going in, I'm loading up my planner. I want to load them all up with the first call to candidate, because now these are candidates that I've put onto my planner that I'm going to be calling tomorrow to engage them in a conversation about the job. The second day, the second call, so after your first day, you make your phone call, they're not there, you create your new activity, second call to candidate, and you post it for tomorrow on your planner. You've now extended your protection for another day. Okay? A phone screen is a trigger. That'll trigger a 7-day. A call to follow-up. So if you're having once you get a candidate involved, you need to keep tagging follow-up calls in there. Or they don't necessarily show on here, but if you put text, if you got a text where they're communicating in with you, if it gets dicey, we could say, look, there's still a communication here. They may not have had this call, but we're still communicating via text. But you've got to be very dedicated to it. So this call follow-up is really your catch-all for anything once you've engaged them past the 1, 2, 3, 4 call process. All right. Once you get them on the phone, it's a phone screen, and then you fall into your follow-up. So you note out here, 7-day rule trigger. That triggers the 7-day rule. This continues it. This continues it. This continues it. You could have another call connect on that too, so you can. It's outside of a phone screen. So other call connect, follow up phone screen. Those are what you're going to have after you do get a hold. So does that make sense?
Yes. So the fact that we're
Yes.
trying to we're trying to make multiple attempts because it's rare to reach someone on the first try generally, and then when we actually connect with them, that helps push it out and restarts the 7 days. So you
Yes,
can always
and even as
continue to extend it out.
Yeah, and like I said, you once you get to that fourth attempt to try to reach them, quite honestly, with you, it's not going anywhere. So that's when typically we let them fall off our list, right? And so you work them for the first 4 calls. If you don't get them, it goes away automatically. If you get them on the phone, you've now got a phone screen with them. You can trigger them. It triggers the extension of the 7 day, but if it's a no-go, you may not care then at that point. So I mean, I would certainly, unless it's something that you want to engage in other jobs, some other bridge of activity or something, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But
and
if something pops up, then at least you're protected.
So, but is there anything that under the candidate where it flags or counting from the activity ourselves?
You got to do the math. I'll show you that when we
Okay.
start sourcing some candidates here.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's not too tough.
No, I just want to make sure, like, sometimes there's I don't know, an indicator.
Yeah, right.
Or
There's
something.
like something would pop up and say this person's under consultation or is
Something,
protected, right? Yeah, I get it. That would be easy and helpful, but it would also not necessarily be accurate because if I did a phone screen with somebody and they weren't going to be qualified for my job and I didn't have anything else to submit to them, I don't care if somebody else calls them. They're out of my purview at that point. At least, and then if I missed an open job, then shame on me.
So the main gist of recruiting is if you don't get them within the fourth call, you drop them and go to somebody else?
Well, here's my philosophy on it, Mark. Honestly, if I can't get them to pick up a phone, answer an email or a text, I'm hitting them 3 times. So every day I'm hitting them 3 times so that's a total of 12 contacts, 12 touches.
Right.
I'm not going to get them on those 12. What's the point? I'm just wasting my time at this point trying to reach out to them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. I would think letting them go would be the hard thing.
Well,
They're a good applicant.
But here's another point, Mark. Let's say you really like this candidate. Hey, if it's somebody you really like, keep them engaged. Reach out to them every 3rd day, and just say, hey, just checking back in with you, see if you found anything, and make your connection with them so you can extend it out. Then you're putting in another call connect or call follow up,
Uh-huh.
and you trigger your 7 days again.
Okay.
So I mean, it depends on what you think the value of that candidate is. I wouldn't be overly concerned about somebody swooping in and grabbing your great candidate, though. I'll be honest with you. If you're conscientious of the other jobs that are currently open in the area, I think I've maybe had 2 people in 3 years that I had at one point I had covered under my deal, and I let them go and somebody else placed them. So it doesn't happen all that often.
Oh, okay.
And that's just because the jobs are so spread out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even though there are so many people that have access to be placed in these jobs, you're going to be surprised. It's the same names that always pop up. It really is. You don't see 200 names. I mean, you're going to see the same. You're going to see John Gatewood. You're going to see Sarah Johns. You're going to see George Woot. And you're going to see Mike Cinnamon. I mean, you're going to see the same names. And because there's really there's probably about, I would say, 30 really active people.
Oh, okay.
So
Candidates, or you're talking about recruiters?
recruiters.
Okay.
Recruiters. So even though it sounds pretty big and ominous, it's not.
So in essence, everybody, you've got maybe somebody likes to work California, so they're working California and they don't care what's going on in Texas
Very true.
because they've got their jobs
Absolutely.
over there and their candidates there. So we put something in like in Texas and okay, go for it. We don't care.
Yeah. Honestly, everybody's got a different agenda. There's a gal here that's in Arizona. She owns a franchise. she does recruiting, but she doesn't. I mean, I pretty much have her territory to market because she doesn't dabble in hospitality at all. She's doing high end construction stuff because that's her sweet spot. So she's using the vehicle as something to recruit for something completely different. And
Okay.
so it's not that these people aren't doing something with the franchise, but they're just not. They're not actively playing in the same pool that we are.
So they're working through you, but they've got another industry they're working in.
She's a franchisee herself, and so she comes from a construction background,
Uh-huh.
and so she just made a decision that that's where she wants to work.
Yeah.
And hey, it's good for her. She's doing well. I mean, she's very successful.
So what do you said there were about 30 that were really active. I'm not talking about a
Listen.
franchisee, but what are the recruiters? What would they be?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The recruiters, when I say those 30, some of them are recruiters, some of them are franchisees.
So approximately, what would they be making a year?
What would they be making?
A year, uh huh.
You know what? I don't know. I'm not really privy to what anybody's making other than anybody on my team.
Yeah.
But there are. I mean, I could speculate. I mean, there's a couple franchisees out there, and I'll keep you guys. There's a weekly update of placements and jobs that need help from the corporate perspective, and I'll send that out so you guys see that every week. But there's a couple people that are probably doing 250K
Yeah.
because there's just. I mean, you see some. I mean, there's some. They keep repeating. Like I said, when you start looking at that report, it's the same people every week. Hezekiah Butler, Margot, it's the same people, and
Yeah.
they're good. They're just out doing what they do.
They figured it out and make it
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Got their little niche going.
Yep. So there is a lot of room out there for us. We're gonna be just fine. I wouldn't worry about losing a candidate. And if you do, you do. What's the honestly that's why I finally have kind of wrapped my head around competition. I want all the business, but you know what? There's no chance in the world I'm ever going to get all the business. It's just not a reality. There's so much business to be had. I can't get wrapped up about losing a gig.
Yeah.
Whatever. Everybody deserves a right to make money. Everybody's good. They're going to make money. It's good. Good for them. High tide raises all ships.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you've got a candidate that you absolutely love, just keep them engaged every third or fourth day. Hang on to them, and then but make sure you're diligently working jobs in that area too. Otherwise, you're just spending time doing something that's not revenue generating for you.
Got to get the money in.
Yep. Okay, so let us. So that's a 7-day rule, and you want to be conscientious of that. It's going to happen. You're gonna tap a candidate that somebody else has got under protection. I'm going to get a franchisee shooting me a note saying, "Hey, what's up?" Okay. So it happens. Don't worry about it. We just do our mea culpas and walk away. But as you're going through sourcing candidates, you want to be conscientious of that so you don't. I mean, for your protection, you don't want to go work a candidate that somebody else has got under protection anyway, right? It's just you're wasting your time. So we're going to talk about what that looks like and sourcing that deal. But we talked about cold calls. We talked about recruiters. I got a couple. I think I sent you 2 resumes for me, right, Maritza?
Yeah.
The thing about these ZipRecruiter resumes that I'm going to send you, okay? I don't screen them. I'm not looking at them. I've got no idea if these people are a fit or not. I want you to take a look at it. It's your job. You make your determinations on that, okay?
No problem.
And so whatever you guys see with these, I want them to be your, it's your job to fill. It wouldn't be right for me to screen them for you. So you're going to get people that aren't going to work. I would recommend saving them when I put them into a pipeline folder, because then you can always do a Google search or do a search, an email search later, and I have a need for a GM, or I need a GM in Tallahassee. Whatever you can search and probably find other candidates. So unless you're saving the resumes to a file on your drive, save the email in a folder so you've got got access to maybe use it as a search one day. You may need it. Who knows?
Okay. And then I don't have a ZipRecruiter. How do I get in?
Oh, you can't get in.
Yes.
Do you have a personal one? I think if you've got, so all you really need to do then is just try.
If you have a personal account, do you have to pay a fee? You can do job search with free ones? Okay. Okay, guys, looks like everybody's back from general knowledge. If you'll go ahead and finish that exam, then we'll try to go over it in just a few minutes. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I missed what you clicked to alphabetized. Right. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 Well, he was also and see, it was a server at Outback. Jason, check your chat box, please.
Thank you.
Seems to have a lot of short times. No.
Hey Mark, what's that GK test speed or whatever? Did I miss one?
General knowledge.
Did I
Uh, do what?
are you wanting me to retake that also?
Is that the 90 question one?
I don't know without looking.
I'm looking for the 90 question one, and I'm showing for you it would be test B. Did you find it, James? Okay.
No, I have not.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of on both sides here. Tackle.
There's nothing in my chat box.
Okay, tackle. What are you looking at? The resume? Okay, yeah. Can we call this one? Yeah, we could call this one. It's open. Right, it's not protected, so. Somewhere. I think I would call him just to check and see, if he was the general manager, we don't know where. Do we? No, we don't know where. So I would contact him because we're showing 9 years. You're right. I don't think he's been there 9 years, but who knows what his employment has been since then. You do call him? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Okay. She's been calling, right. 7/19 to present. It's available. He's available. It's not protected. Been there 3 years, 2 years, 5 years as a route salesman. He was a correctional officer. He can handle the staff. That's right. He knows how to talk to them. Put you in solitary confinement in the office. He's got 3 years as general manager. What was the requirement? 5? Okay. To Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I would doubt it. I would doubt he was the general manager of a restaurant. Unless it's Dairy Queen. Right. Yeah, I'd say yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That John guy's been on it. I think I'd skip him. Yeah, I'd skip this one. So, that's- oh, he was probably in high school. No, I would. Yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
yeah, on general knowledge test C, question number 4, which one is the best answer between, give me a second, between move the victims out of the way immediately or protect the area?
You don't move the you don't move the people out of the area.
Yeah,
What?
because on here it says correct. That's the correct answer.
Okay. Where's what number?
Number 40,
40.
yes.
Okay. Your question says except. In other words, there's a bunch of them that are correct,
Oh,
but
yeah.
which one is wrong? You don't want to move the victims. You want to stop the bleeding and protect the area. Make sure EMS has been called, that kind of stuff.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Okay, tell me, I know none of these that you're naming here, none of these restaurants. So, can I click on the restaurant and find out what they are? Or would I just have to Google? A Crystal? Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah.
After general knowledge test C, which one do we take next?
Just a moment, please.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I don't see your numbers in the chat box. You've got to let me have your numbers. Right.
See them now?
I need your stats. I need your numbers in the chat box. How many did you miss?
I missed 7.
Okay. You need to put that in the chat box that you got 43 out of 50. Okay. Do you pretty well know what you missed?
Here on the chat?
Yes, sir. Uh huh. Right. They're going to think they're a Thai chef. Uh, go to general knowledge test A, please.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're right. Working it, you get it down. You pick up on it more. Yeah. Uh huh.
Test A.
Yes, sir. Test A. You just passed it. It's just one line. Yeah, right there. Luke Pizza Grill. Jim, were you needing air brakes?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Uh, okay, folks, I'm going to play an air brakes video. And if you want to watch, you're more than welcome to. And if you don't, you can, I guess, endure it. Just a second, and I'll find it. There we go. I like this video because it shows you the parts, the actual parts of the brakes, and it does real well with it. Yes. Yes.
Vehicles traveling the nation's highways sometimes weigh in excess of 40 tons. In order for these large vehicles to stop safely, it is imperative that their brakes work properly. The most common brake system in use on heavy motor vehicles today is the air brake system. In this videotape, we will examine the principal components in a typical S-CAM air brake system. We will begin at the wheel and work our way back through the entire system. What exactly happens at the wheel the instant a driver applies the brake? In order to answer this question, let's remove the wheels on this dual assembly for a closer look. This can be accomplished by removing the outer wheel nuts, the inner wheel studs,
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't have either.
and some retaining bolts which secure the brake drum. The component now being removed is the brake drum. It is made of cast iron and is fastened to the wheel hub. The inside surface of the drum should be smooth and not rusted, cracked, out of round, or contaminated. With the brake drum removed, we can see more clearly what happens when the brake is applied.
Oh, okay.
We are now looking at the brake linings, which are forced to move or pivot upon brake application. To see exactly what the brake linings move against, let's put the brake drum back into position. As
Oh,
the
yeah.
brake is again applied, watch the brake linings move
If
and
they're still
contact
there.
the drum.
Yeah.
Now, with the wheels back into position, watch the wheels stop as the linings are forced out against the drum.
I was going to say, sounds like something you get quick.
Adequate friction at the drum will in turn stop the wheels and the vehicle.
Whoa.
Brake lining should not be excessively thin, cracked, or contaminated with grease or oil. Let's go back and examine each brake component in more detail. The brake lining is connected to a metal surface called a shoe.
That sounds
The
like a
lining
good
and
one
shoe
to
are
hang on
usually
to.
fastened together by
They
rivets.
need help.
There are 2 brake shoes at each drum. The
Yeah.
brake shoes and linings are held in place by the spider casting, called the spider for short. The spider is mounted to each end of the axle housing. This casting should not be loose or cracked. The spider holds one end of the brake shoes with anchor pins. When brakes are applied, the brake shoes pivot on the anchor pins. Anchor pins may sometimes rust, thus freezing the brake shoes in either the applied or released position. When the brakes are released, return springs pull the brake shoes and linings back away from the brake drum and hold them stationary until the brakes are once again applied. These springs are highly stressed and may fail due to corrosion. The next two brake components we will discuss are the cam rollers, located at one end of the brake shoes, and the S camshaft. Watch these components as the brakes are applied and then released. When the brake pedal is depressed, the camshaft rotates. As the shaft rotates, the cam rollers ride the S-shaped cam to its high point. This action spreads the brake shoes, which in turn forces the linings to contact the brake drum, bringing the wheel to a stop. Friction between the brake linings and the brake drum produce heat. The brake drum absorbs this heat, then dissipates it into the atmosphere. Brake drums may sometimes become distorted or severely cracked. They can also become contaminated with oil or grease. These situations could result in partial or complete brake failure. What causes the camshaft to rotate? In order to answer this question, we focus our attention on the brake chamber, push rod, and slack adjuster. When the brakes are applied, air in the brake chamber forces the push rod out against the slack adjuster, which in turn causes the camshaft to rotate. Now let's take a closer look at these individual components. Brake chambers are mounted near each wheel and are used to convert the energy of compressed air into the mechanical energy required for braking.
Thanks for letting me know.
Let's examine the inside of a clamp-type spring brake chamber. The brake chamber is divided into two parts: the service chamber side and the spring brake side. The service side of the chamber provides braking for normal driving needs, such as slowing down or stopping. The spring brake side of the chamber is used for parking and emergency braking. Primary components in the service brake side of the chamber include a rubber diaphragm, return spring, push rod, and plate. When the driver applies the service brakes, compressed air is forced into the service brake side of the chamber, moving the diaphragm and in turn the push rod. The spring brake side of the chamber includes a second diaphragm and a powerful spring that are used for parking and emergency braking. Air pressure in the spring brake side keeps the large spring compressed, holding it ready for parking or emergency braking. When the driver wishes to apply the parking brake, a dash-mounted valve is used to exhaust air from the spring brake side of the chamber. Notice the pressure gauge needle on the right as air pressure falls in the spring brake side of the chamber. This causes the large spring to expand, forcing the push rod out of the chamber and thus applying the brakes. If for any reason the air supply should fall to a dangerous level and the air pressure is no longer capable of compressing the spring, the large spring will automatically expand and apply the emergency brakes. Brake chambers should be free of leaks, bent push rods, loose mountings, missing air fittings, and chafed hoses. No matter what type of braking is needed, the brake chamber always begins the braking process by forcing the push rod out against the slack adjuster. The push rod is the link between the brake chamber and the slack adjuster. The push rod is connected to the slack adjuster by a yoke and clevis pin. Without this connection, the brakes would not function at that wheel. Slack adjusters take linear motion from the push rod and change it into rotary motion at the camshaft. The slack adjuster, essentially a lever, also substantially increases the amount of force it transfers from the pushrod to the camshaft. The camshaft has grooves that allow it to fit into the slack adjuster. Slack adjusters are equipped with an adjusting mechanism to compensate for brake lining wear. This device is important because as brake lining wear progresses, the pushrod must travel further to apply the brakes. Some slack adjusters perform this adjustment automatically. To check for proper adjustment, pushrod travel is measured. Brake chamber size and type must also be verified in order to check for allowable pushrod travel. With a properly adjusted brake, a slack adjuster and pushrod should form about a 90-degree angle with the brakes fully applied. Let's take some time to review all we've covered so far. When the brakes are applied for service braking, air enters the brake chamber, diaphragm moves the pushrod forward, slack adjuster rotates the camshaft, S-cam rides the cam rollers, rollers force the shoes to spread, linings contact the brake drum, and finally the wheel stops. Thus far, we have examined each brake component starting at the wheel and moving back to the brake chamber. Next, we will examine the principal components which compress, clean, monitor, store, and direct air to the brake chambers. Let's begin by learning about the air compressor. The air compressor is an engine-driven mechanical pump which is the energy source for any air brake system. The compressor's output is controlled by the governor. When air pressure drops below a certain point, the governor activates the compressor. When air pressure returns to normal operating levels, the governor deactivates the compressor. From the compressor, air is directed to the air dryer, where it is cooled, filtered, and dried. The air dryer removes contaminants and moisture from the system. From the air dryer, compressed air is routed to the tractor's reservoir tanks, where air is stored until it is needed to apply the brakes. Usually, there are 3 reservoirs located on the tractor and 2 on the trailer. Air is routed to the various brake components through hoses and tubing designed to resist corrosion and high pressure. A series of valves throughout the system direct, signal, and relay air, as well as control pressure to the brake components. Hose couplers, or glad hands, quickly connect air hoses from the tractor to the semi-trailer. Once these connections are made, compressed air will be routed to the trailer's reservoirs. Compressed air is routed through this complex system of reservoirs, air lines, and valves in such a way to ensure that the tractor would still be able to stop, even if part of the air system were to fail because of trailer separation or severe airline or reservoir leaks. Let's now move inside the tractor cab and examine the controls related to the brake system. Gauges mounted on the dash allow the driver to monitor air pressure in the reservoirs. If reservoir pressure should drop to a dangerous level, a visible warning device alerts the driver. This is called the low air pressure warning device. For normal stopping, the driver applies the service brake by depressing the brake pedal, sometimes called the treadle valve. When this pedal is depressed, brakes at each wheel are applied. If the driver desires to apply only the trailer brakes, a hand valve mounted on the steering column or the dash is used. Parking and emergency brakes are controlled by other push-pull valves located on the dash. To apply the parking brake on both tractor and trailer, the yellow valve is pulled out. The red valve controls the spring brakes on the trailer only. If air pressure is ever unexpectedly lost, the emergency brakes on the trailer would automatically be applied by the spring portion of the brake chamber, and the red valve would pop out. Let's briefly review the components involved in the routing of compressed air to the brake chambers. A compressor supplies pressurized air for the braking system. The governor regulates the compressor's output. An air dryer cools, filters, and dries the air from the compressor. Reservoirs on the tractor and trailer store the compressed air from the compressor until needed to apply the brakes. A series of valves throughout the system monitor, signal, relay, and direct air to brake components. Hoses and tubing move air through the system to the brake chambers. Hose couplers, or glad hands, quickly connect air supply from tractor to trailer. A foot pedal applies service brakes at each wheel. The hand valve applies trailer brakes only. Dash control valves regulate spring brakes for parking and emergency braking. Air enters brake chamber. Studies have shown that brake failure is a leading cause of commercial vehicle accidents. It is imperative that such critical items as brakes be inspected properly and that the inspector have a good working knowledge of component function. Proper inspection of an S-Cam air brake system may prevent a serious accident and make our streets and highways a safer place to travel.
All right, enough commercial there, right? Okay. Since we're doing air brakes, let's just scroll on down. Somewhere down here we're going to get some air brakes. There we go. General knowledge. Air brakes. Now you'll notice my cursor is a little over halfway down. Okay. So we're going not to 100 questions, but we're going to Centurion 50 question test. And if you're through with your general knowledge exams, let's go on over to air brakes. And if you're not wanting air brakes, that's fine too. Just let me know if you're going to leave me. And Centurion 50 question air brake test, please. And let me know there. Let me know when you get finished with it there. Like I said, it's, I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's a little over halfway down. It's before the combinations. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. Yes, yeah. I think I'm good. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. You clicked 160, but it'll only do 50 at a time. Okay. Gotcha. I see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I see. Yeah. Yes, sir. Sure does. Right. Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Maybe they're stuck in traffic. Yeah. Yeah. I think time use would be utmost important. I think how you use your time would be of utmost importance. Huh. Yeah. All right, Jim, did you pretty well know what you missed there?
Yeah, pretty much. Let's see.
Okay.
Let me go back here. Question number 5. At least 125 pounds. I'm sorry, 120 pounds.
Right. Yeah.
The compressor warning. Let's see what else. See, I got confused about the after applying brakes fully. What is the maximum air loss of 1 minute between the single vehicles or the combination vehicles? I got the numbers confused.
Okay. I usually tell people use your fingers. You know, in Texas, we're kind of simple sometimes,
Right.
and we have to have our fingers. So, you know, 2 for just your tractor. All right. And
Right.
then, you know, if it's a combo, well, it's 2 for the tractor. Just a second. Somebody else been kidnapped. 2 for the tractor, and then you add the trailer. Well, you've got to add a finger to the tractor. All right. So that would be
Okay.
3 psi. But if you put the brakes on, we're going to go on up to 4. It'd be the same thing if you had the tractor and you just put your brake on. Okay? So
Okay.
remember that everything is timed for 1 minute. No 45 seconds, no 30 seconds, no 2 minutes. It's 1 minute. Okay? Because that'll be some of your answers on the test. And you don't want to, you know, get messed up in some of that. So what was the question again, if you'll go over that?
The question 34 was, after applying the brakes fully, what is the maximum air loss in 1 minute after initial pressure drop for a single vehicle?
Okay. So you've got brakes and the single vehicle.
Okay.
Okay.
Brakes into a single vehicle, that's 3.
Right. Yes. You'll know that your dial will bounce a little bit when you turn on the truck or whatever, and you have to wait till that stabilizes. Don't start timing before that, or it's going to mess you up. But when it stops the bouncing, that's when you want to start your timing, especially with the DMV. You want to you know, time it and go from there. Anything else, or did that pretty well do it?
I'm looking.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm looking.
No, that's all right.
Uh,
Just quiet. Thought maybe I missed something.
question number 38 was, what is stab braking? The answer is pressing the brake pedal hard, releasing the brakes when the wheels lock up, then repeating by putting the brakes on and on again as the wheels start rolling.
Right.
That's the correct answer. I put the wrong answer.
Remember, stab braking is the opposite of control braking. Control braking is going up to a stop sign, stoplight. You just put on enough brake pressure to stop the truck, right?
Right.
Truck staying straight. You're in total control. There's no sliding back there. No trailer coming around to see what you're doing. It's just everything's straight and you're in control. Stab braking is emergency braking. Okay? Emergency braking is when you're going down the road. You see grandma up about a block. And you think, okay, well, you know, she's got 6 little grandkids with her, so I'm going to wave as I go by. But unfortunately, she decides to come out in the street and cross over in front of you. She wants to wave at you from in the middle of the street. You can't just control braking or you're going to run over her. So you're going to slam on the brake. But you know the rear end's going to come around to meet you and you're going to jackknife if you stay on the brake. So when the wheels stop rolling, you're going to come off the brake for about 2 seconds or so, because those wheels will start rolling again. Put that brake back on. That's stab braking. Okay? Stab braking is emergency with grandma, and control braking is the stoplight and just everyday driving.
Gotcha. That's it. Those are the only questions that I got wrong.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's go to that air brakes practice test E. It's up a couple. It's past that 100. The hundreds. Jason, how are you doing? Are you on general knowledge or are you on air brakes? Unmute your mic.
Uh, I'm back on this test. I don't. A lot of these tests don't even compare to how they're asked on the state, so I'm sad already. So it's sometimes creating more confusion. My girlfriend noticed that too. She goes, "Why do they keep running insults?" I said, "I don't know."
Yeah.
It's just like, you know.
The main thing.
Plus, I was trying to take it while that video was running, and it's like being at the Moline DMV, I guess, loud as hell.
Yeah. So are you on general knowledge or are you on air brakes?
General knowledge. I'm not trying to cloud my head up with anything more than just general knowledge, because if I fail it again, I'm out a month.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
And then 13 days after you pass your 13 days for your permit, and then you still got, if I fail it, I still have to pass general knowledge, and then I got to worry about passing air brakes in combination, and that could take even longer, and then fail them, and next thing you know, I'm in the winter, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I just thought this would go smoother with the classroom. I passed it before in the past. Now I'm just wishing I would have paid $50 and tried to go get my permit. If I didn't get it, I didn't get it. Now I got $5,000 out of my pocket over my head here. So it's it's getting flustered.
Yeah. You'll get it. You will get it. So just wasn't sure where you were. So, holler if you need me.
Sorry, what letter was that air brake test we're taking?
E like Edward.
Edward, thank you.
E Edward. Yes.
40 questions, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't. No, I just agreeing with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Oh, right. I think so. Will do. All right, folks, let's take about 15-minute break, and I'll see y'all at 15 minutes past the hour. See you shortly. Okay, yeah. Jim, how did you do?
Let's see, I got a couple wrong, but what I had questions on was question number 32 and 33. They seem to be the same question to me.
Probably are.
What's
Probably.
But I put the question number 32 is single vehicles, brake released, maximum air pressure leakage in 1 minute. The answer was 2 pounds. I got that right. The next question, number 33, was after applying brakes fully, maximum air loss in 1 minute on single vehicles. And the correct answer to that one is 3 pounds per minute. I'm sorry, 3 pounds per square inch.
Right. Well, the first one's with no brakes, or the first one is no brakes, second's with brakes.
Oh, now I see it. All right. I read that wrong. I'm sorry. That makes sense now.
Okay. That's all
Thank you.
right. So we were doing practice test E, right? Well, let's go to D, if you would. D like David. And Bambone? How many,
Yes.
How many did you miss? 30 out of 50. Okay. Have you written down your questions that you missed? And are
Yeah,
you're still on general knowledge, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Okay. We need to switch over to air brakes, the Centurion question air brake test.
Okay, well, I just review these, the question that I got wrong, and then I can go to airbricks.
That's fine. If you write down the questions and go over them, yeah, that'll be good. Yeah. Okay. Just let me know when you go on to air brakes.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Mark, I have a question on knowledge test.
Yes, sir.
It says you were traveling down a long grade and you notice your brakes begin to fade. What should you do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, normally you would have already downshifted before the grade and relied on engine braking.
Right.
It says stop as quickly as possible,
Okay.
downshift, which you're not supposed to try to downshift in the middle of the hill.
No.
Check to make sure your insurance policy is paid. We can narrow that out.
Well, that would be a good
Begin
one to
pumping your
do.
brake pedal.
That'd be a good one to do if you're going to keep going downhill.
Yeah.
But I would stop if I was you.
Now, on the state test, it would say start looking for the runaway ramp, probably.
Or stop, yeah.
But if your brakes are fading, how are you going to get stopped? Sounds like you already have a runaway train.
No, they're fading.
down.
They're fading.
So-
You haven't lost them.
So I must have picked downshift earlier. I'm going to go with stop as quickly as possible. And then you would set your parking brake or emergency brakes.
Yeah, I'd do that.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. but be sure to pull up your pants. Yeah, wear a belt. Oh yeah, that's right. Uh-huh. That's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Yeah. No. Okay. Well, that puts some accountability. That puts accountability on them too. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Hmm. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I wondered about the counter offers.
Hey, Mark, are you still with us?
Well, of course. Where'd you think I went? Yeah, that's it. Just talk to me with your microphone muted. Then I can decide if you're still here or not.
Sorry. Are you doing anything more today on common knowledge?
Not on general knowledge.
There you
I
are.
mean, I can work.
General
I can-
knowledge, sorry.
I can keep you going with general knowledge if you want to. If you'd rather stay on
Yeah.
general knowledge, we can do that.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt these guys. I just got 87 out of 90 on that one on Origo. And
Cool.
one of the answers I got wrong was just a simple misread. But I wish that would have happened the first time when I took it at the DMV was a simple misread.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
I only needed one more. Second time got worse. So it was the ones I skipped that came back to bite me.
Yeah, those will do that sometimes. Yeah. But
So I'm thinking this time, if I know it, don't skip it and go ahead and answer it.
yeah, if you
And skip
know
as
it,
least as possible, you know.
if you
But,
know it, don't skip it. But if you don't know it, skip it, because you may come up with another question that you go, oh well, that would be the answer for that other one I skipped. You know, then if you have to use the skip ones,
Yeah,
it'll be there.
I wrote them all. I wrote them all on the front of the folder and the answer and tried to come home and find the answers on them. So
Mhm.
if they give me that, I'm kind of hoping they give me the same test. If I fail it this time, it's just my own fault. But that way, I get a couple more answers. I should pass. So
Okay. Well, let's see. Which one did you just do? E. Didn't you just do general knowledge E?
I did B. I
Not
finished
question.
B.
And you got how many out? You got how many out of it?
Huh?
How many did you get out of that one?
87 out of 90. It should have been 88. I misread one that I missed. I sent you a chat.
Well, I was looking for my chat. I can't. It doesn't come up at the moment.
No, you're fine.
That's fine. Why don't you drop down to C, general knowledge test C,
Oh, okay.
and do that one. That'll do good for you. Alrighty. That's 50 questions. Jim, how are you doing?
Doing good. I got 30 out of 30 on that one. So
Oh, okay. Good.
Pretty good.
You were on E.
Correct.
All right, there we go. All right. Why don't you move up to C? Also, C, wrong test. Wait a minute. Wrong group. You were on E. Why don't you move up to D, like David?
So B, gotcha.
Yeah. See how that one does. Bamboni, how are you doing?
I'm doing alright. Still just trying to see reviewing the questions that I failed.
Oh, okay.
Trying to see if I can memorize them, or should I just skip it?
The thing is, don't memorize the question, memorize the information.
The
Okay?
answer, yeah.
Because if you
I'm sorry,
remember,
that's what I meant.
if you memorize the questions, what'll happen is they'll reword it, and you won't know the answer. But if you know the information, then you can go back and then they can give you that, and you can pick it apart and see what's the right way to do it.
Okay.
But holler at me if you need help.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, Mark, you said D as in David. Looks like that's the one I just did.
Okay. Well, go up to C.
Go to C.
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
Yeah, we're still in one of those ignorant categories you were talking about. Well, I appreciate that. I really do. Oh yeah.
A straight 4-lane.
Yeah. Well, when you see the money coming in, you know you can do it. Then you get excited about the money. Yep.
So which one do I do next?
Okay, which one did you just finish?
General knowledge test B.
Driving heavy vehicle, you must exit
Test
in
B.
behind-
Okay,
behind.
let's go to air brakes.
Air brakes.
Yeah, air brakes. Test E, like Edward. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
air brakes E, like Edward. Oh. $5 whose time? My time or it's
Is it the 40 question one?
five's fine with me. On Friday. Okay. Okay, say that again, please. Air brakes?
I was asking, was it the 40 question one?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Oh, I figured you'd have those 8 o'clock evening meals. Well, if you get to Spring, holler at me. You'll probably drive right through Bastrop. I know there's a couple of airports, but that just means you'll fly over me. I'm in Bastrop, so I'm about 2 hours from Houston. Yeah.